In addition, I have murdered 33 human beings.
I talked to a psychic today, and she said that you are going to be very successful.
A pretty girl asks 3 handsome guys questions, and she picks one to date. That's it. That's the show.
His future was uncertain.
I'm sorry about your show. Are you okay?
I just want to entertain people.
His every move was being watched.
I could use your help. I work for the Office of Diplomatic Security. Is that the CIA? Are you interested? I can teach you at least 30 different ways to kill a man, Mr. Bear.
The edge of your hand against your adversary's Adam's apple.
Mr. Goldberg!
Hi, Chuck. I have a hole in my daytime schedule.
It's the Gong Show.
It's a perfect cover. TV producer by day, CIA operative at night. Think of it as a hobby, something you do to relax. Take a shame.
I'm Chuck. Here you are, Chuck. Pleasantly surprised. You're not like the other murderers.
When you lead 2 different lives, it's easy to forget what side you're on.
Nice, Penny. Patricia, how'd you find me?
Are you serious? This is what I do for a living. What does she mean? That's what she You're does dead for a in my living. book. Do you want me to have to?
Everything's complicated, Pen. You work for me. There's no backing out now. We let you in on everything.
Drew Barrymore, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Sam Rockwell as Chuck Barris.
Look who comes out of hiding.
Someone changed sides.
It's over. It's finished. Your history.
You're a dead man.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. Don't mind me as I try new things for the channel, and especially for this one, because I've been really fucking looking forward to making a review finally for Confessions of a Dangerous Mind for Sam Rockwell month, for any reason whatsoever, actually, because this is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's one of my favorite screenwriters is in here. This is the best George Clooney movie to me. Some people will say good night and good luck, but this is one of those instances where I'll be like, I respect your opinion, but you're wrong. This is Clooney's best work here. So full spoilers if you have not seen this movie. And yeah, I'm trying new things because yes, I got my laptop, but the camera on it sucks, and the webcam I have didn't want to go with the software. So now I've got my laptop, I've got my ability to live stream back, but I have a shitty camera, and I need to get some editing software. So we're still doing it on the phone, but I don't know, I'm kind of miss it almost in a way. So I guess I kind of cherish these videos a little bit right now. I mean, maybe not so much in the past, but whatever. So anyway, what's more fitting than to be reviewing something that I love on this, and that's, again, Sam Rockwell month, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, my favorite Sam Rockwell movie, I think. And he should have won the Oscar for this. He should have fucking won the Oscar for this. Winning it for 3 billboards is fine, but this, why do they always get this wrong? Because his performance as Chuck Barris is one of my favorites. I love the story. I read the book. If it's true, wow. If it's not, it is still one hell of an entertaining movie, driven out of the fucking park by a Charlie Kaufman script. And I'm telling you, man, like, Charlie Kaufman doesn't make bad scripts, okay? I don't think I've ever read a Charlie Kaufman script or seen a Charlie Kaufman movie with his script and said that was bad. And adapting this book is perfect. It's perfect Charlie Kaufman stuff. If you don't know who Charlie Kaufman is, he did adaptation being John Malkovich and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is... If I have to tell you what Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is, we can't really be friends anymore. Same as if you haven't seen this, because this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like in the top 20 for sure. But it's the unauthorized biography of Chuck Barris. Now, Chuck Barris, if you didn't know, if you haven't seen this movie or whatever, we're telling you, he wrote a pop song called Palisades Park, which is still something I have to listen to at work occasionally. So he wrote a pop song. He produced the Gong Show, the dating game, the Newlywed Game. He was this huge producer in TV in the 60s and 70s, and even I think in the 80s a little bit. And I remember as a kid watching the Gong Show and just being like, what is this and who is that guy? I mean, just as much, I mean, I was a little kid and I remember the host. He was just like so, I don't know, electric and magnetic and weird and crazy. And I just remember like all of a sudden that show not being on and forgetting about it for a really long time until I heard about this story about Chuck Barris writing a book about how he was a CIA assassin while he was a producer of game shows. And I had to read this book, and I mean, I became obsessed with this story. I understand, like, some people in the world, you know, just seem to be living like a different version of your life. Like, they're so kind of close to you in personality that sometimes it's scary. And that's why it draws me to this, is just the person that is Chuck Barris. Just such an interesting person with such a damaging backstory that you don't find out if you've never read the book, later on, that his mother really fucking did a number on him, like dressing him up as a girl, treating him like he was a girl for the longest time. And just all the things that led him down the path of chasing, as he puts it, chasing pussy and just chasing sex and meaningless relationships and then finding his way into like television and then finding his way into the CIA where he supposedly killed 33 people. And like I said, like whether or not this was just Chuck being Chuck and writing an entertaining story or telling the truth, I mean, either way, it's fascinating. Drew Barrymore in this gives one of my favorite performances of Drew Barrymore's. In fact, this has like one of my favorite Julia Roberts performances ever too, because I'm not a big Julia fan. Never have been, never really understood it, but like sometimes when the right project comes along, I'll go, oh my God, I like Julia Roberts in this. And in this, she's really good and gets to just be weird and bad. Like, Julia never gets to be bad, and it's nice to see her be, like, off type. And I think that's probably why I find her performance in this so awesome. Drew is Drew. But it's like, again, like, the chemistry that they had in Charlie's Angels shows off way more here, and it still makes me go, how are they not really a couple? How has Drew Barrymore and Sam Rockwell not secretly been married for, like, the last 17 years? Because they're just clicking. And even though she's got the girlfriend role, she's not just some damsel in distress. She's a free spirit, but she's like can't help but be in love with this guy that just keeps breaking her heart. And she just does a really good job here, and I love it. George Clooney has a very understated performance in this that I really, really like as well. And there's like a ton of... Michael Cera is in this movie as a young Chuck Barris, talking about asking his young friend, like his sister's friend, to taste his strawberry dick. Quite a way to introduce Michael Cera to the world, everybody. Strawberry Dick Barris. Also, like Maggie Gyllenhaal's in this in an early performance. But But somebody that really stands out to me, and I'm going to find him in here, is Robert John Burke. I love him. He's been in everything. He's one of those character actors you'll recognize. He was the priest on Rescue Me. He is so great as like the CIA drill sergeant, and then shows up later on in a scene that Chuck needs him in, and it's just, he's so funny. This actor, he does a lot of stuff in New York. He's a New York-based actor, but I've seen him in everything, and he's one of those guys that you just recognize. And I don't ever think I've never not liked this guy in something. He really shines in this as well. There are just like people all over this movie. Brad Pitt and Matt Damon have their great cameo in this for the dating game. But it's just the way Clooney films this, or had set it all up. How they put this movie together is just really, really great. Every shot, the way it's filmed in different styles, depending on what Chuck's going through, like his emotional states and just tone and what's going on in the movie. Like they change the way it looks depending on what the scene needs. It's just the way they change the sets, everything. I love the way that this movie looks. I don't know who the cinematographer was, but just the way that the script must have been, and the way Clooney, this is one of those movies that you feel like somebody made, because they, it doesn't feel like one of those movies that gets made. Like, this is one of those Hail Marys, one of those, I can't believe they let me make this movie. And I think if it wasn't for Clooney, I don't think this would have gotten made. But it just, and Sam's performance as Chuck in this is so fucking layered. Even though we have to look at his ass quite a bit in this movie, Rockwell has never been a timid actor, and so yeah, there's a lot of Sam's hairy ass in this movie. But it's just part of the whole thing, because you can kind of feel like, and especially from the book, that Chuck was just kind of living grody sometimes. But the way he plays this damaged person, hiding a lot of stuff, and not being a good person. Like, he's likable, he's charming, but he's also a piece of shit. Like, he can be a real fucking asshole. And I like that he's just this multi-layered character. He's not just one thing. And even though he's got some hang-ups that you just kind of want to go, yeah, everybody goes through something like this. It's different, and I don't know. And there's a certain attitude that you have to have when you want to be in the industry in any form. You've got to have this kind of cockiness and go-getterness that, can sometimes make you look like an asshole. Or, maybe you just are being an asshole to get things done. I don't know. But I respect the drive that they show of Chuck's in this. So, and the way that they created the games and the ideas for how he came up with it, and how Chuck sees society as himself, and letting that kind of decide how the show was going to go, with the way he felt about marriage, is how he made the Newlywed Game, and how he just felt kind of about people in general, how he's a hitman in his secret life. Now he gets to kill people on stage. He lets them play a little bit and play with them, and then just stretch it out until you take them down. It just speaks to a certain level of thinking about society. And he must have, when you see him drinking and stuff, I always wondered why he seemed weird when I was a kid, and it's clear now, he was probably fucked up to the gills. Even if he wasn't a contract killer, or if he, you know what I mean, if they ever reveal that he was, if the CIA opens up the books and tells us what happened, I still think a guy like Chuck would have been just pretty loaded all the time, because of how miserable and depressed he seemed, and self-loathing and hate. And it's I get it. It hits me, man. And I, just the difficulties sometimes that I don't know, people like him have. I don't know what category I want to put him in without making myself sound arrogant at all. But I don't know, people that just think differently than other people. There's a saying, what, those who don't hear the music believe the dancer mad. I think people like Chuck and I have that kind of thing where people can just look at us sometimes and like go, I don't hear the music. Those people are weird. So anyway, and eventually in this movie, we get the whole scene with Julia Roberts where she's taken out all the guys. Like there's a mole and it turns out to be her. And she gets one of the best like scenes between him and her. It's just so fantastic where once you've seen the movie, you can see like what's going on, like quietly, you're not supposed to know. But like the switching around of the poisons and how he pretends to be poisoned. And then she like just gives this awful speech, like, and I don't mean awful, I mean she's so good at this speech of just telling him all these terrible things she's been doing and just feeling so superior. And then like all of a sudden the poison hits her and he's standing behind her like perfectly fine. And then making her write no love while she's dying, and it's like she has to look at her own like words as she's dying. It's just, oh my God, fantastic. Oh my God, fantastic. The same thing with when they have their, like, it's not a sex scene, but like she's never been hotter, is when they're sitting there talking about like their favorite like authors or poets or whatever. And it's just that connection that they feel with each other. And I've just never seen Julia Roberts just like knock off a bunch of shit off a table, like saying like, take me now. And just like, I don't know. I've just never seen this side of her. And that's why, again, I think she's so fantastic in this. And I didn't think I'd be talking about her that much in this because of how I usually feel about her. But again, and like when her and Julia Roberts have that one scene together, oh, man, I mean, she was just crushing it all over the place. But still, nothing can top what Sam does in this movie. The way that it's just up and down, this emotional roller coaster. And it never stops being an entertaining movie along the way. Especially like the stuff when he's training to be a killer and like how they figured out how to take the people on the newlywed dates. Just a whole bunch of, just all the montages, because there's a bunch of them, but most montages suck. And these were all like kind of really done in a fun way that didn't feel like just your normal montage. Plus this movie has fucking Rutger Hauer in it. I had forgotten about Rutger Hauer when this movie came out. I was like, holy shit, it's the guy from Blade Runner. So anyway, whether or not any of this is true, it's still an amazing story. I highly recommend you watching this. In fact, like I said, we can't be friends until you've seen this movie. You don't have to like it. You just have to see it. And in fact, when I popped this into my, the Blu-ray in, I think I've owned this. I've owned this probably for about a decade on Blu-ray. I think this might have been the first time I actually watched it. So I don't think I've seen this movie in close to 10 years. And that really pisses me off, because what the fuck have I been doing? But it's these is one of those movies that I've been waiting to review purposely for when I got my laptop. And that's why I've been making like a big deal with like the stuff before the beginning of the video and everything, because I really wanted to do a good job at this. And I hope I did. So if you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. We are still going with Sam Rockwell month. There will be more Sam Rockwell month. We'll probably do another one in a little while, because I looked at how much I still have to do and I'm like, I'm not even close. So I might even be able to go back. So like, I think like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, we're going to try to knock out as many Sam Rockwell movies as we can. So this is just the first month. And yeah. So anyway, this is Robin Smirking Gun Review saying have a great night, and we will see you on the next Sam Rockwell video, or one of my other ones. There's a ton of them. Bye.